Hello, New Stoics. This is Tim, and we are on episode 2, where we start to look at our life as a Stoic after 1 week. So I'm assuming everybody who watched the first episode is curious what the next level is of being a Stoic. What can we do past what we already discussed first? So to start that off with, before we do anything, I need to introduce 2 texts, and these are 2 texts that I've covered on my channel quite a bit, but they're very important for beginners getting into Stoicism, and just people who need a little bit of insight in their lives. So the first is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and the second is the Enchiridion by Epictetus. And the main reason why I am choosing these 2 is they are very plainly written. Marcus Aurelius is more of his own personal writings. I don't even think there was an audience intended, so it is a very good insight to how we should get into our meditations in the morning. So I highly recommend that we get into Marcus Aurelius and to give us better insights in our meditations. And the next is the Enchiridion by Epictetus, because he was writing many different ways and metaphors and stories to teach us about how we could cope with the brighter and darker aspects in our lives. And so 1 week on, we are going to actually read some Stoic philosophy from 2 of the greatest Stoic philosophers. So we're going to start our day. We're going to get into our meditations. We're going to do just like we did before, everything on a global or universal level, a national level, and a local level. So today we are going to instill our virtue of wisdom. So on a national and local level, I would like new Stoics to start considering who their leaders are. Who are the people who rule over you? So we all know we have a president, President Trump, but do we know who our representatives are? Do we know who our senators are? Do we know who our mayor is? Do we know who our city council members are? Do we know the opposition to those city council members? Do we know which parties they are? Do we know their backgrounds? Is this information available? And I'm saying in the age of the internet, most of these things are available. So it's our duty as Stoics, who are lovers of wisdom, to start seeking out this knowledge so that we can avoid any kind of confusion or being angry over new politics. So that is my point to push during our first week of being a Stoic, is we need to understand who our leaders are and the opposition to those leaders, so that it will help us have a sense of tranquility. So once we get past our meditations, we have a nice meal based on the virtue of moderation, not too much, not too little. We then drive to work, keeping a clear head and driving safely. Then we go to work. So last week, we didn't say much. We listened a lot. We tried to see who our co-workers are, what they believed. And now we're going to do much of the same, except we're going to speak out a little bit more. If we see any kind of injustice in the workplace, if we see sexual harassment, if we see our boss or co-workers do anything unethically, this is the point where we need to put our feet down. We need to not only call out injustice, but we need to make sure other people know that it's not right to do. And there's consequences to these actions every time. But as many virtuous people have found throughout history, it's almost better to go down virtuously than to live with yourself in an unvirtuous way. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be a little bit more open about how we see injustice, and that's where we start viewing our other virtue, courage. We be brave about how we see injustice and we call it out. So after our work, and hopefully we have minor incidents on the way, we start to think about how we deal with our family. Are we being fair with our spouses and our children? Are we dealing with them in a smart way? Is the way that we're treating our family, is it overall the way a Stoic should behave? So that means not yelling at your children over minor things, or not yelling at them altogether. It's not making a big deal out of minor things that we could easily replace. It's understanding that sometimes mistakes will happen, and our reaction should never be too severe for minor things. So after we do that, after we look at how we treat our family, and hopefully we treat everybody fair and justly, we start looking over our day. Have after a week of our training, do we feel different? Do we have a sense of happiness after everything? And I really hope that everybody does start to feel a little bit different after the first week of becoming a Stoic. And please let me know in the comments if you've considered any of these practices, and please like and subscribe to the New Stoics. We are trying to build ourselves out as an organization, and if more people subscribe, it really helps us with that goal. Thank you.